And joining us now, our great friend Bridget Gabriel, live from somewhere in America. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
Great to have you back. So how goes the fate of the Republic, Bridget?
Thank you. Oh, it's going great. You know, remember when President Trump, when he was running, and he would say, we're going to win, and we're going to win, and you're going to get tired of winning? Well, you know what? It feels great to be winning. Finally, we have a commander-in-chief sitting at the White House instead of a community organizer.
You're so right. Bridget, let's talk a little bit about the change in the dynamic after 8 years of Obama. Now we've had a year and a half of Trump. Your thoughts?
It's been amazing. He is doing all the right things, sending all the right messages to our enemies, and we are already starting to see the result. And it started immediately after he became president, and I'm just going to talk about foreign policy for starters. Look, he bombed Syria like within a month after he became president simply because they crossed the red line. They knew he's a no-nonsense president. He bombed them again when they crossed the red line. Those lessons did not go wasted on people like North Korea, on dictators around the world who are realizing President Trump, in their mind, is crazy. He is unpredictable. We do not know how we're going to react, and he's making people take notice and come to the negotiating table.
Indeed, Bridget. Let's talk about the fight to lead the CIA. Your thoughts?
The fight to lead the CIA, what we are watching is incredible. I mean, to see the leftist war against anybody that Trump nominates, anybody, regardless, is just amazing. When you look at Gina Haspel, she is one of the most qualified people to lead the CIA. Right now, she is the most qualified. She started with the CIA 30 years ago from the bottom and worked her way up. She knows the CIA and every aspect of our operation internally and globally. She has served in different capacities. There cannot be a more capable person at this point to lead the CIA, and we should stand with her. And by the way, Kevin, the left right now is bombarding Capitol Hill with phone calls to their elected officials trying to stop her confirmation. We need our side to do the same. We have a link on our website to contact Congress. Go to actforamerica.org, actforamerica.org. All our listeners right now, click on Contact Congress, enter your zip code, and we'll give you the names of your elected officials that you need to call. We even have a pre-written letter. With a click of a button, you can send it to Congress. They need to hear from you because they are hearing from the other side, and we need to call elected officials and tell them to confirm Gina Haspel as director of the CIA.
Bridget Gabriel joining us here. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. Let's talk about our adversaries, the Iranians, the president pulling out of the agreement. Your thoughts?
He did the best thing by pulling out of the agreement. He actually is working on making world peace happen, not just Middle East peace, by pulling out of the agreement. And here's why. Iran, Kevin, is not only a threat to Israel. It is a threat to the world. Remember, Israel is the little Satan as far as Iran is concerned. We are the great Satan. We are the bullseye. So Iran basically took all the flush money that we gave them, basically what Obama gave them in the middle of the night, like a drug dealer sending hush money in cash, and basically spent it on financing terrorism. Iran has spent approximately $100 billion on the Syrian war. And the sanction relief has given Iran basically a slush fund where now they have put $35 billion of our tax dollars into Syria, and they spent it on weapons, on training, on building a command center to control terror operations. Actually, their command center is right by Damascus airport. So when we saw Israel bombing all these Iranian military installations in Syria, the Iranian have up to 13 military installations right now. And the major place that they bombed was by the airport, which is the command nerve center for the Iranian operation in Syria.
Bridget Gabriel joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. You know, what don't we know about the Iranians, what they're doing in Iraq and Syria? We don't get a lot of the insight that you provide for us, Bridget.
Well, the Iranians are Iran wants to establish hegemony all over the Middle East. So they are very active, and they felt empowered actually under the Obama administration because they knew that America was no longer leading in the world. And basically they knew they had 8 years carte blanche to expand their operation because not only America wasn't paying attention, America under Obama's administration was cozying up to them, was sucking up to them to be their friend. Who can forget that the first address Obama gave to the Iranians right after he became elected was congratulating them on their spring holiday shortly after he became president. So Iran, realizing that, took the opportunity to now have bases of operation in Iraq. They have bases of operation in Yemen. They have bases of operation in Syria, in Lebanon. Obviously, Syria and Lebanon are their major operation because Lebanon has the biggest concentrations of Shia after Iran. So Iran is funding Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah, because of the Iranian funding and control, has now 155,000 rockets and missiles directed at Israel. So Iran's base of operation, basically, across centers in the Middle East is very worrying to the Saudis, to the Egyptians, to the Jordanians. That's exactly why, Kevin, we are seeing the Sunni bloc, Saudis, Egyptians, Jordanians, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, all working together, coming together with America against Iran.
Indeed. Of course, that would be historic if that coalition could pull it off. Do you see the Iranians going quietly, or do you think they'll continue to work on their nuclear weapons to try and threaten the stabilization of not only the Middle East, Bridget, but the entire world?
Oh, the Iranians are not going to go quietly, Kevin. This is exactly why they bombed Israel yesterday. They wanted to show President Trump that, hey, they wanted to throw a fuss after he ended the deal. And sure enough, they got it from Israel, and good for the Israelis. But they're not going to go quietly. And by the way, Iran continued enriching uranium even after we signed the deal. Basically, that deal was a joke because they continued doing whatever they wanted to do. And we couldn't actually inspect it because we had to get an appointment from them to go even inspecting. So what we did with the Iranians did not deter them one bit. But now, under President Trump, he not only is going to tighten the sanction, bring them back to where they were before Obama loosened the sanctions, because Obama loosened the sanctions at the point where the Iranians were starting to suffocate. So now Trump not only is going to bring them back to where they were before we loosened them, but even tighten them even more. And I believe we're going to be able to bring the Europeans to our side. Our European allies right now are just kind of like talking. They do not want to lose the contracts they're doing with the Iranians. But at the end of the day, they're going to come back on side with the United States because they need us much more than they need the Iranians. And we will be able to really enforce Iran to really stop their nuclear development, or we'll take action.
Our great friend Bridget Gabriel joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. You've been to Idaho a few times. Your thoughts on the Gem State?
I love Idaho. I love hiking in Idaho. I cannot wait to come back this summer. I love hiking the Sawtooth Mountains. I tell my friends, Idaho is the best kept secret, because most people in the rest of America don't really think much about Idaho other than we love Idaho potatoes. But when you go visit Idaho and you visit the natural beauty of Idaho and the wonderful people of Idaho, I'm in love with Idaho. Idaho is a must visit every year on my list to go hiking. Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. So I can't wait to come visit your state in just a few months.
Well, we can't wait to have you. Obviously, we'll be pumping up your appearance here. Bridget Gabriel, our guest at KIDO Talk Radio. Bridget, what about Syria?
Syria, Kevin, Syria is a problem. There is no win situation in Syria. No win no matter what happens. Because if we get rid of Assad, who's going to take his place? Who's going to fill the void? It's the rebels, it's the radicals, it's the Muslim Brotherhood, it's the ISIS-like radicals under whatever new name. I mean, listen, we got rid of Al-Qaeda, so we have ISIS pop up. You have different Islamic groups across the world that just adopt, different Islamic names, and Syria is no different than that. If we kept Assad is a friend of the Iranians. Assad is helping. The Iranians are propping him up because they need Syria to basically funnel weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon. It's a base of operation against Israel. And so if we get rid of Assad, the rebels are going to take over, and they're actually worse than Assad. If we keep Assad, he's actually bad. It's a no-win situation. No matter what we do, it's going to take years to fix Syria, and it's going to take American leadership to really straighten the Middle East until we get to fixing Syria at the end of the line, and that's going to take some time.
You know, you take a look at Assad, and a lot of people say that he's protecting the Christians, but he's not a nice man.
No, he's not a nice man. But when it comes to protecting the Christians, he is a nice man because he is their protector. He is basically standing against the radicals. Here's the thing, Kevin, that people don't understand about the Middle East. And I know the Middle East is a very complicated place. It's far away. Before cable television news 24 hours a day, people really didn't hear much about the Middle East unless a war erupted. So people didn't know what was happening over there. But when you look at the Middle East, you can identify the Middle East literally with one dictator, the Islamic world, with one dictator or one royal family. So you had Saddam Hussein in Iraq, who was a dictator, but he put his thumb down on the Islamic radicals and kept them down. You had the Shah in Iran, who kept his thumb down on the radicals, the Ayatollah Khomeini. It was Carter that got rid of the Shah, and who did we end up with? Ayatollah Khomeini. In Syria, but Hafiz al-Assad, Bashar al-Father, back in the 70s, when the Muslim Brotherhood tried to rise in Hama in the 70s, he bulldozed 30,000 of them in the city of Hama. 30,000. That was Assad's father, back before America was paying attention to the radicals. Basically, the people that Hafiz al-Assad, Bashar al-Father, bulldozed in the 70s were basically the Muslim Brotherhood that is rising today, that are members of ISIS, that are members of Al-Qaeda. So finally, we are seeing the same thing happen again. So yes, Assad is a bad man, but Assad basically is crushing the Islamic radicals, the likes of Al-Qaeda and ISIS that we cannot stand, who are the true barbarians. But again, it's the Middle East. It's complicated. Whoever can restore order is the one that should be in power. And right now, what's his name, in Libya, Gaddafi was a mess, but he had order. He was able to keep his thumb down on the rebel in Libya. He is gone. Libya is in shambles. Saddam Hussein had his thumb down on the radicals in Iraq. He is gone. Iraq is in shambles. Syria is in shambles. Lebanon is a democracy, but the Islamist Hezbollah used democracy to gain control of the country, and that's bad. But this is what happens when we don't have American leadership across the world, and America needs to exercise its leadership.
Bridget Gabriel, if people want to get a hold of you, what can they do?
People can go to our website, actforamerica.org. Actforamerica.org. We are the largest national security organization in the U.S., a grassroots organization. We have almost 1 million members. We have activists all over the nation. We fight for our country. We have passed almost 100 bills on a state level and a federal level securing the nation. Join us. If you love this country, we want you engaged. We want you active. We want you to join us as an activist. Together, we're making a difference for the country. Go to actforamerica.org and join us.
Well, Bridget, we can't wait to see you again in Idaho. You take care now.
Thank you, my friend, and I wish everybody a great weekend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Bridget Gabriel. Boy, you can tell the difference between when Obama was in office and when Trump's in office. Just an entirely different person, and I know a lot of folks have seen her when she's visited the Gem State. Coming up next, we'll talk a little local elections, your reaction to Bridget Gabriel. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And we so graciously thank you for listening to us in the morning. Blessed to be a part of your day. If you missed our interview with Pulitzer Prize winner John Meacham, we'll have that for you at KIDOTalkRadio.com in the 7 a.m. hour, or we'll share that with you coming up next week. Speaking of next week, we'll be at Terry's Cafe Thursday in Meridian, Idaho. Our call for arms and call for unity. I don't know about arms, but a contentious primary season rolling to an end. Will the Republican Party be able to bring itself back together to take on who I'm calling the eventual Democratic nominee, A.J. Belukoff? We go to Liberty Linda at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. You know, I think Bridget Gabriel should be more enthusiastic. She just isn't quite there yet. Great listening to her. You know, I think that our Hank has more information in his brain than any newspaper that I know of. And he is your listener. Hank is your person. Anyway, I just love it when he calls in. He has so much information.
He does.
And that's the kind of listeners you have.
Well, as we said, they're the most accomplished, the most decorated, the most educated, and the most passionate. We try and reflect that when, we listen to folks as opposed to yapping at them.
Absolutely. You have great passion in your listeners. And speaking of passion, I just want to give a great big shout out to Tommy Ahlquist. Here the election is right around the corner. On Tuesday the 15th, everybody has to make up their mind. And my vote is for Tommy Ahlquist. I think he and President Trump are going to work great together. He's going to do great things for our wonderful state of Idaho, our beautiful state. This is like one of the most beautiful states. And, Bridget Gabriel is right. You know, a lot of it is a secret. But anyway. And
well,
we have here, too.
Well, thank you, but are you calling on, you believe that Ahlquist will win?
Yes, absolutely I do. And I think that he and President Trump are going to work great together. Tommy Ahlquist is going to do great things for this state, for the people of this state. And I think that after he's elected, people will start seeing, wow, hey, that's really great what he's putting into our state. And so anyway, that's my feelings. I'm voting for Tommy Ahlquist, and I think he's going to be one of the greatest governors we've ever had.
Liberty Linda, thank you for the call.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being there for us, Kevin. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
826, traffic and weather together. And let's go to Max in Garden City at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Max. Max. Max.
Yes, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Max. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I had to run across the living room to get to it.
It's okay. Welcome, sir.
I realized something. As I ran to the phone, I run like an old man. That's terrible. I want to echo the sentiments of Liberty Linda. I've been looking things over, and I want to vote for Dr. Ahlquist as well. But I also wanted to mention something. It seems like we're living in a news bubble in the U.S. What's the last story you heard about the 5,000 Chinese troops in Damascus?
Been a while.
Yeah. China has been slowly building a very Assad-friendly force in Damascus. They have military advisors out there. Russia's not happy about it, but there's one simple fact. Russia's running out of money, and quickly. China is not. And I have friends whose sons are in Damascus right now.
And what are they saying?
The parents are saying their sons are there to support the ideals of government as exemplified by the Communist Party of China. The PLA has at least 2 ships committed to the area. And by my best guess, I don't have access to military files. My best guess, there are just under about probably 11,000 Chinese troops in Syria. They're afraid that if Syria follows the Libya, Iraq, fall into total chaos, warlords take over, China's there to make sure that the order will be maintained. In other words, this is a good and a bad. This is a coin that doesn't have a good side. If we allow the Assad regime to crash, what would come in would be far worse without somebody like China there to maintain order. And this would quickly become China's war, and Russia would back out. Russia doesn't have enough money to go up against China. China can just keep on pumping bodies and dollars in there until they win. And that's the basic plan. I don't think this, I know this.
Max, thank you for the call and for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Steve and Meridian, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for the call. I chimed in this morning, and the first person I heard was Liberty Linda. She's a nice lady, but I think she's misguided on her political choice for governor, and the last gentleman as well. I respectfully and strongly disagree. There's no way that anybody is better than Labrador. Alquist may have been a good doctor. He is a good money-making businessman, but he's running on a platform of hopes for change, but he hasn't really given any good ideas for change. It's all about, let's replace the guys that have been in there for all these years, but let's remember the facts. He has even said himself, Idaho's a great state, and it's great to live here. Well, how can you not give credit to the people that have come before you if you're on the one hand saying Idaho's great, on the other, we need change? I say it is obvious. Alquist is not going to be the leader. He's not going to be a good leader if some miracle he won. It's all about Raul Labrador, a great man, a great family man, a proven track record of standing against the majority. He has favored Trump and strongly stood with Trump. And you know what? They may pick out an isolated point here or there where Labrador disagrees with Trump, but that's healthy. We don't need every man to agree like a robot with every man on every single point. But overall, the track record and the future potential of Raul Labrador is hands down by far the best in this state, and I cannot wait for him to be the governor of Idaho. And that's what I wanted to say, Kevin.
Steve, thank you. Thank you for listening. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good.
Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget, Miller's Mission begins May 21st through the 26th. We'll be at the Walmart, Garrity and Franklin. I was just talking to folks in Nampa about that. We're going to be back there once again this year. Clothes for kids. And we do need some towels, some sheets for our friends at City Light, all to benefit our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission. Thank you to Team Mazda Subaru, our friends at Camping World, and the Boise Rescue Mission. Will be living at the Walmart once again, coming up May 21st through the 26th. Let's go to Jared Halpern joining us now from Los Angeles concerning an issue where we're going to bring back the Nevada nuclear waste dump. Jared, welcome to the West Coast.
No, I'm still in D.C.
Well, for some reason they've got you in Los Angeles. How dare they? Anyway, it's not that
If they want to send me to, happy to take them up on that offer.
Well,
the weather's actually pretty good here on the East Coast, but listen, happy to. I love a good fish taco. Malibu's nice.
Hold on.
Let's do it.
Right. I'm going to have to get the defibrillator here in a minute. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the House bringing back the mothballed Nevada nuclear waste dump.
Well, so, I mean, listen, this is, as you know, something that's been controversial for a long time. And one reason that it was stalled for so long is because Nevada lawmakers don't want anything to do with this. And for a long time, they had a pretty big advocate in the United States Senate with former Majority Leader Harry Reid. Nevada lawmakers still don't like this at all. This is a proposal, by the way, to build this nuclear waste, sort of a dump. It's a storage facility for used commercial nuclear fuel. And the idea would be to bury it deep underground at this Yucca mountainside out in the Nevada desert. I think it's about 100 miles or so from Las Vegas. And, you know, it would be a big government expense. That's why Congress is involved. And it's got a lot of support. This yesterday in the House got more than 300 votes, but not a single person from Nevada voted for it. And that will be sort of the tricky issue moving forward as it moves to the Senate, is whether or not, you know, the two senators from that state, a Republican and Dean Heller, who, by the way, is facing a very difficult reelection bid, and the Democrat, Cortez Masto, is able to, Catherine Cortez Masto, are able to sufficiently block it, put up enough roadblocks to prevent this from moving forward.
Well, they just certainly miss, as you've alluded to, Harry Reid.
Yeah. I mean, he was able, you know, listen, I mean, he was able to stop this for a long time in the Senate. You know, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that Mitch McConnell is trying to get done in the Senate. I don't know how big a priority this ultimately will become. It is a priority, certainly for the Energy Department. It's certainly a priority for a lot of these states that want the nuclear waste out of their state. But there's also some other options as well that are being presented, and that's some private companies that are saying, listen, we can build a facility like this, at least temporary facilities out in the deserts of West Texas and New Mexico. And so is that the direction that the government wants to go? So, again, it's been an issue that's been around for a long time, as we've talked about, and it's probably an issue that's going to remain, depending on whether or not it gets a quick Senate consideration or not, or whether, like I said, the two senators from Nevada are able to sort of step in and block it. And that's the other sort of, you look at it from sort of political strategy perspective, right? Mitch McConnell knows the state of play in the Senate, knows that, Dean Heller is probably his most vulnerable Republican senator up for re-election. He wanted to do something that could make that re-election even more difficult for him. I don't know the answer to that. Again, there's a lot of things the Senate's trying to get done, and the House is able to move, several pieces of legislation at one time in a way that the Senate, as you know, with the rules of the Senate, can't do. So it's going to come down to priorities and what they want to dedicate floor time to.
Jared, anything else we should be looking out for in the next coming weeks?
One thing that has been fun to watch, at least for those of us that like congressional rules, is this attempt by a group of moderate Republicans in the House to get around GOP leadership to force some votes as early as next month on immigration proposals. Remember, the Senate did this several weeks ago. They put forward 4 different sort of DACA fixes. None of them got 60 votes, but those never got consideration in the House. There was something called a discharge petition. If you can get 218 signatures in the House of Representatives, you can basically force votes within given days on any issue. You have a group of Republicans who have, I think they're up to 17 Republicans now that have signed this discharge petition. So if they can get every Democrat to sign it, they would only need a handful more Republicans to get to that 218. This is one of those examples of sort of how rank and file members, if they get frustrated enough, can try and get around leadership and sort of express their frustration. Obviously one of the tactics is to show that there's support for these types of DACA fixes. The other, of course, is to try and put pressure on GOP leadership in the House, Speaker Ryan in particular, to make good on what he has long said he would do, which is find a DACA fix. Now, his point is we're not just going to vote on something that can't get the votes or can't get the president's signature. He wants something that the president would sign. The trouble with that is we know the president's proposal got, 36 votes in the United States Senate. That's not enough. And so this is a debate that I think over the summer, as we get closer to the midterm elections, may get a little bit more heated and a little bit more animated as we move into the summer months here.
Jared, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll get out to Los Angeles, give you a report.
Have a great day.
All right, man. Take care.
Our great friend Jared Halpern joining us. Kevin Millen in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to the phones now. Terry from State College, Pennsylvania joins us now. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Kevin. Boy, talk about diversity. You've got it today.
I would say.
I had a friend of mine. He was a counselor, Christian counselor through the churches back in Pennsylvania. And he used to tell me, he said, Terry, it's so difficult working with people. He says, the first thing I have to tell them is the very moment that you lie to me, you have disarmed me. I can no longer help you. So my question is to the Liberty Linders and whoever who thinks Tawny's so good is, how are we going to know, now that we do know he lies, how are we going to know when he's telling the truth? And that's important to me. It might not to anybody else, but that's important to me. I remember I defended a man once and he got caught lying. It's like, oh, great. Everybody said, you're a fool. So then I became a fool. Not that I already wasn't, but nonetheless. Kevin, we have a nuclear waste site across the Columbia River in Washington, leaking like a sieve underground, and they're scared to death, don't know what to do with it, and now they want to put one below us in Nevada. Ooh, that'll keep you awake at night.
I would say.
Kevin, I appreciate what Max is saying, but China and Russia have a remarkably close relationship. And I remember Putin's speech when he welcomed China to come in and operate in a serving capacity in Syria and Assad. I mean, they would send China in there. Of course, I wasn't, nonetheless. This Assad thing, this Syrian thing, he is the last, whatever we want to call him, dictator or whatever, how anybody wants to do it. He does defend Christians. You heard that for yourself. Why do we want to take this guy out? You know, oil and gas line. And Iran, I just going to get real messy real quick. And we are not going to take the way it's going to come down. I have big concerns about that. But, you know, nobody has talked about Lorcher, the guy that has the social conservative from Bonneville that has tried to stump many pro-Second Amendment movements.
Sure, but
here we are. We're looking at stand your ground. And he's supposed to be a conservative. He's blocking people from testifying. Why is nobody talking about this guy? He's dangerous. I don't care whether you call him a conservative or what you call him. Nobody's talking about him.
Well, we call him Chairman Lurcher. Terry, thank you for the call. Holly in Caldwell with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Holly.
Hi, Kevin. I was glad that he was talking about stand your ground, and I kind of wanted today to talk about the legislative race in District 23.
Oh, come on,
and about
Holly.
the representatives that we have there.
Come on, Holly. Come on.
No,
you're gonna have to work for it. Come on.
I know. Well, I guess I wanted to give people some sources so they could kind of
No, Holly, come on. That's warning number 2. Come on.
So if you
Holly, give me something that we're talking about before we go to legislative.
So you
want
to talk about maybe Liberty Linda needs to change her name if she's going to vote for Tommy Alquist. How's that one?
Wow. My goodness. I can't really...
like Liberty Linda, but I think that her principles her name would not be, if she wants to vote for Tommy Alquist, she probably ought to be Socialist Linda.
Liberty Linda under attack?
No, I love Liberty Linda.
No, you can't love Liberty Linda and then call her Socialist Linda.
I love what she normally stands for. I think she's been influenced because she has a personal relationship and knows Dr. Alquist, and he's very charismatic. But I think Raul Labrador is the only way to go.
Well, then, okay. Then hear me out for a minute. Your thoughts on the ad from the Little campaign?
Which one? There's so much stuff. I get like 3 things a day from him in the mail.
You should be listening. Holly, you can't just call in and give your talking points about District 65.
I did listen a little bit to the ad this morning, but honestly, there's been so much stuff from the Little campaign. Are you talking about the negative one, or which one are you referring to?
Well, the one about the Never Trumper. You haven't heard the
He's
ad.
saying that Raul Labrador.
No, Holly, I caught you. I
didn't hear
Holly.
that one. Hey, Kevin, I love your show, but it isn't my whole life. You're right. I do listen. But...
pandering always pays off here. Pandering always pays off, Holly. Now,
yeah, you're right. That's great. And you're going to have to go get the defibrillator if we keep going.
Yeah. Okay, you've worn me down. Now, this is District 665. Why should we worry about this, Holly?
Well, in District 23, we have Christy Zito, who...
Our great friend, yes. We love her.
Yeah, she's proven to be a representative of the people. She's proven to defend Second Amendment rights. And her candidate that's running against her is a very nice person. However, he is funded by IACI and the Prosperity Fund, and in the Magic Valley Times, he even claims that she is too far right and he's more of a moderate conservative. He wouldn't answer the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance survey. People can go on Facebook and see what they have to say. They don't endorse candidates, but they do inform about the issues. This week, Christy was endorsed by the NRA. She's endorsed by the Gun Owners of America, and she's done all the right things to really be a voice of the people. In fact, yesterday she was out serving a constituent who had his Fifth Amendment rights violated and wasn't even campaigning.
I will just say this, that she's a very wonderful representative. We don't endorse folks, but we've had some interactions with that young lady, and she's very good, and she should be happy that you're here supporting her unsolicited in between your attacks on Liberty Linda.
I'm not attacked. I got to take that back a little bit. I love Liberty Linda.
Are you taking back? You called her a socialist.
I'm saying
how
that
dare you, madam?
Really wants
how dare you?
I'm saying that I think her principles is she really She's being skewed because he's a nice guy, like a lot of politicians are charismatic, but nice people don't always have great ideas when it comes to how they will do things in the political arena. And I think that because she knows him personally, she has been skewed on what her principles normally are, and I don't think that she understands all the things about all the money they've given to the Democratic Party. I just don't feel good about Dr. Alquist. Of course, I'm Raul Labrador and Russ Fulcher all the way, but anyway, that's my opinion. So.
Your opinion's always welcome here.
Thanks for duking it out with me.
That's how we wake up, waking up to duking it out. Thank you, Holly.
Have a great day.
All right, you too, our great friend Holly. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Kevin in Caldwell. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, a couple things. I wanted to chime in on something that Jared Alpern brought up, but I also wanted to say when it comes to this governor's race, I've been watching the donations that have been coming in, or should we say the lobbyist donations, and Labrador is miles behind the other two, and that says a lot to me. And you look at the negative ads that are being thrown out there, it's because they've got that money to be negative, and it's sad. It's really sad. It's outside money. It's out-of-state money. It's money from Democrats. I mean, it's fun now with the internet to just research who these funds, these PACs are, and see who they are, and it pretty much exposes them. And I'll tell you, there ought to be some way for these politicians to either refuse the money or refuse the message that comes from those people. And I just think that both Little and Alquist just don't have the cojones to stand up and do the right thing. So they're more than happy to take the money and bash Labrador. But Labrador, hopefully he gets it. We'll hope and pray he's the man. Anyhow, on Jared, when it comes to the nuclear site down there in Yucca Mountain, he didn't make this clear enough, I thought, that it's already built. Are you there?
Yeah, Kev, I just like to listen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyhow, it's already been built. It's constructed. It's staffed. There are people there right now guarding that. We have paid for that. The sad component of it was we paid billions of dollars into Nevada. Harry Reid was all for it, for building it and taking the money. When it came time to ship the nuclear fuel, that's when he shut it down. So, I mean, that really points out the dirty politics that guy plays. But it was studied by the best geologists and the best science in this country, and that is the safest place to store that material. That geology there is solid, it's stable. There's no water, no aquifers, nothing like out in Arco where we store our nuclear waste. I mean, it all should be down there, and it should be opened up. And whether Nevada likes it or not, they were certainly happy to take the billions for the jobs and the construction. They can take the waste. That's my opinion.
Kevin, your opinion is always welcome at KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be a part of your day. Keep it here for complete campaign coverage. And don't forget Glenn Beck coming up next. Liberal Steve joins us now at KIDO Talk Radio.
Miller's on a mission. Not sure what it is, but he's on it. Good morning, Miller. I just want to make a prediction about the November election. And I want to predict, no matter what, that the individual that will be elected as governor of the great state of Idaho will belong in good standing to the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. Period. Whether they're Democrat or Republican, you'll have an LDS governor. Last one was Catholic, so we'll see how this 4 years goes. You stay fired up, Miller.
Well, the Catholics had a good run. Thank you for saying goodbye, Liberal Steve. Traffic. And let's go to Pro-Life, who joins us now at KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning. Good morning, Pro-Life.
Yeah, I'm a Michael Snyder supporter, even though I'm in that race. And
Tea Party Bob is pretty hard on Michael Snyder.
Yeah, I don't know why he wants to get that hard on him. I'll tell you this, Michael Snyder would be the only maybe member of Congress that would go out on the floor of the Congress and tell everybody off for not following the Constitution, for not upholding the moral standards of Christianity. And I know him. He's that kind of a guy. But any of the rest of them in that race, they'll go back there and mesh in and become part of the machine. And so that's my estimation. Somebody that's being endorsed by InfoWars and Natural News. They're an unusual kind of a person. And so if you know what that means, Michael Snyder would ask for the impeachment of the president if he went out of his jurisdiction, say like on war. He's not a wimpy guy. And so that's about all I can say about it. You might have somebody else on the line there, so I don't want to take too much time, but in the governor's race, they'll all rule about the same, regardless of who gets elected. The legislature really does make the rules, and the governor's supposed to execute the laws of the legislature. They're not supposed to be the king, so any governor candidate should even tell you that.
Pro-life, God bless. Ray, great job. Keep the faith, everyone.